We came, we saw, he died.
Hey guys, this is Tommy, Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today?
Nothing is going to fundamentally change when I'm president.
Does have the most powerful military in world history and has troops deployed all over the world and is constantly threatening to initiate new wars. So I think it's kind of a legitimate area for inquiry, given that the president has essentially unilateral authority over military power. So I don't know. Yeah, just a recommendation to the later moderators. You might want to give it a little bit more attention. It's funny. I watched a debate from the 2007-8 cycle recently, just to kind of refresh my memory, with Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Chris Dodd, John Edwards, Obama, etc. And about half of it was devoted to foreign policy because you had the Iraq War going on, you had the threatening of Iran, etc. But you mentioned Kamala Harris's ill-formed positions on foreign policy. Why hasn't anybody asked her to clarify these things?
Yeah.
As Dennis Kucinich has pointed out to me in the discussion that I had with him last week, Kamala Harris has gotten away with just kind of, making feints about what she may or may not believe about various hot-button foreign policy issues, but she's really skated without committing one way or another to a host of issues. And
well, Michael, she hasn't done all the polling there yet to figure out exactly where she stands. I'm curious, really quick before we go. I mean, look, here's what I admire about Tulsi: is there is nothing that requires more political courage than going against the military-industrial bipartisan consensus in this town, which she has done with force. And whether you agree with her on absolutely everything or not, I really admire her courage in that department. And what's interesting to me is most of the, as you put it, prestige media, which I like that term, really seems to have a hard time wrapping their heads around the fact that maybe Tulsi's views come from actual convictions. There's this whole, is she a Russian plant? Or, why are her views so weird, right? What's with her upbringing? And there's all this attempt to understand her rather than just maybe accepting the idea that a politician could be driven by principle and by what was, I'm sure, an incredibly searing experience serving as a combat medic in Iraq. I can't possibly imagine what she saw there.
Our troops perform, if we place 30,000 more troops in there, then we would see an improvement in the security situation and we would see a reduction in the violence. But
it's funny, I went to the 538 live podcast in Detroit this past week. I don't know why I subjected myself to that, but I did for journalistic reasons. Claire Malone didn't say anything, didn't offer any normative value judgment about any candidate, right, for the entire podcast, except when Tulsi Gabbard came up. And then a stern look came over her face, and Claire Malone said, no, she's a problematic person. And just okay, what exactly is problematic about her? Can you elaborate on that? Or is that just some vague belief that you've been instilled with by the media portrayal over the past several months, where she's either a dictator apologizer, or she is a member of a cult, or she has some kind of nefarious connection to Russia that's never really quite fleshed out? So whenever a candidate challenges foreign policy consensus, and it's not unique to this cycle, although Tulsi has some unique qualities that make it extra egregious, but whenever a candidate challenges foreign policy consensus, they end up getting portrayed as somehow weird, or an oddball, or as somehow personally corrupt in a way that's never really quite defined. Dennis Kucinich had it happen to him, Ron Paul, etc., going back into previous cycles. So I think in the case of Tulsi Gabbard, the case is really harder to make because, as you mentioned, her military service equips her, if anybody, to level these criticisms.
Does it depress you, Commissioner, to know just how alone you really are?
Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today?